We have about another minute and we'll get going here.
Hey, Derek, quick question.
Yeah.
Assigning the breakout rooms, am I good to close out the window or is it gonna lose all my progress?
Oh yeah, you can close it anytime.
Okay.
Anytime you pop it back open, it'll allow you to keep adding.
Perfect.
Yep. Okay, I have 10 o'clock. I'm sure there's probably a few that will still join us, but good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today's webinar is Testifying for Impact. We're going to walk you through how to make your voice heard in the legislature. So if you want to advance the slide there, Alyssa, and I'll let Dave, or I'm sorry, with us today, and our presenters today is David Koenig, Chair of the Legislative Committee, and Nancy Healy, Co-Chair of the Legislative Committee, and also District Board Member. And your facilitators today will be myself, Jacob Knupp, our Membership Coordinator, and Alyssa Brady, our Project Coordinator. So I will let Dave kick this off now.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Derek. What is the purpose of today's educational seminar? To educate our members on the importance of self-advocacy, specifically verbal or written testimony. To show you how to develop your own impactful testimony, and to show you how to submit your testimony.
Next slide.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. What does public, verbal, or written testimony accomplish? It inserts your voice into the important decision-making process. It educates legislators or committees on the need to pass, or in cases not to pass, legislation under consideration. It provides legislators or committees insights that helps them create effective policy for their constituents. And then we'll go on to the elements of effective testimony. These are the essential elements of effective testimony. Be concise and to the point. Don't ramble on, stay on topic, and state the point you are making. Be personal. Include a personal story or example of why or how the legislation being discussed will affect you or how the lack will affect you. It's just important that legislators have a face to connect to issues. It just makes it more personal. It makes it more real, that it's not just anybody out there, but they remember a unique person's story. That's very important. Also include RPEC's priority. And finally, include RPEC's call to action messaging. All calls to action sent by RPEC include language we ask you to convey to legislators or committees. It's very important how that's worded. And this is the important part of you being there. It's called the ask.
Yeah, now we are going to walk you through the 5 simple steps to building your own testimony, be it written or verbal. Step 1 is the opening. Greet the chair and members of the committee you are testifying in front of. Tell them who you are. Here are a few examples. To tell them where you worked and how long. Tell them when you retired. Tell them who you are affiliated with.
Building your testimony. I'm here to thank you for your consideration of proposals supported by RPEC, other senior organizations, and organized labor. It's very important that They have these there. And step 2 is to state the RPEC legislative policy priority, and that is a statement. It's very important that you include this. I really appreciate that we include that it's not just us. We're there for other senior organizations and organized labor. That's a very important part of the legislative priority.
Building your testimony. Step 3 is provide a statement, example, or story. A personal story goes a long way. Legislators are asked all the time to pass legislation, but your personal story telling how the lack of legislation has impacted you hits home and makes the issue personal to them.
And step 4, call to action, messaging. State our call to action messaging. All of the calls to actions have specific language, and we ask you to convey them to legislators. The language is often carefully crafted and concise. And as I mentioned before, this is called the ask. This is the reason you're there. So that's so important that they end with this call to action. And also, be sure to thank them. Thank them for their consideration. Thank the committee for hearing your testimony. And no matter how you feel about the issue being considered, politeness speaks volumes. Now let's look at some testimony prepared for a recent Select Committee on Pension Policy meeting.
Here's some testimony from Diane Yates from the October 2025 SCPP meeting. I'm going to give you a minute to read that over and see what it's like. It's on your screen there, and I'll come back in about a minute.
And you may be able to identify the 5 steps in this, but we'll point those out in the next slide here.
Yeah.
Good to move on.
Not yet.
Okay, I'm speeding.
Okay, yeah.
It's all good.
Okay. You may be able to identify the 5 steps that are here, but the next slide will make it clear. So go on to the next slide there. So here's the next slide, and we identify here the opening that we've talked about what should be in there. Next is stating the RPEC legislative priority, in this case the PERS 1 retirees. Telling a personal story, so this is a story of someone specifically telling Diane telling about her story. Reaffirming the RPEC messaging is number 4, and lastly is a thank you. What we're going to do now is we're going to have 3 breakouts. Staff to move attendees into 3 subgroups. David, Nancy, and Derek, Jacob to be added, and also Alyssa to facilitate the group. We're going to move you all into 3 smaller groups. Please take a few minutes to write down your testimony using the sample outline. We will reconvene in the main room to share our work. The small groups will meet for about 15 minutes. And then we'll come back to a large facilitation that Derek will deal with. As a part of your breakout, you need to agree on a topic, be it, healthcare, PERS 1 COLA, taxes on seniors. You can make up a bill number so that you have a bill number, and you just work on those things.
Okay, and before we get going here, because of the number of people, I think we're only going to do 2 breakout rooms here. And Nancy and David will moderate both of those and help answer questions, and Jacob and I will be also in those 3 rooms. I think because of our timing, we're doing well. We might extend this to 20 minutes to give you guys to work on this. So we'll move everybody into breakouts. So we'll give you a couple minutes to gather a pen and paper if you need, and then we'll get going on that. And appreciate some questions in the slides. Bill asked if we can have a copy of the slides. Once this is done, we will upload this to YouTube and post it on our website, and we'll include a copy of the slides as well with that post. And we'll share that out in the news flash probably next week. So Alyssa, if you want to go ahead and move us into breakouts. And again, we'll probably do about 20 minutes and we'll return at 10:30.
Why isn't it moving, you two? Oh, here we go.
Or do you still want me to talk, or are we on to a different part of the meeting?
We'll get with you here in a quick second, Jerry. Actually, to answer your question, Alyssa, can you back up to item 1 on building your testimony? Okay. So typically, as David had mentioned earlier, we want to greet the chair, recognize the chair, and members of the committee. And so, if it's, say, select committee, you recognize chair, co-chair, legislators, and members, because the select committee is made of legislators and representatives of active and retiree organizations. If it was say the Ways and Means Committee, Health and Long-Term Care, you'd recognize the chair and just members of the committee, as they're all legislators. So that's kind of our way to greet them.
Yes.
Derek, we
sorry,
added
go ahead.
too that sometimes it's interesting if they say where they retired from, just as a connection, especially if it's a link to somebody on the panel that may have worked at that agency or had a history with that agency.
Yes, yes. And it's always helpful to give them that personal touch, where you worked in public service. And again, how long you may have worked and how long it's been since you retired. Because especially like an issue with the COLA, and you'll find this with other issues, you'll find points in your life that relate to what they're doing. So for the COLA issue, the legislators know that the COLA for Plan 1 retirees was repealed in 2011. So if you say you retired in 2005, they know that you received a COLA for a number of years and then stopped receiving it. If you say you retired in 2015, they know that you have not received an ongoing COLA aside from the ad hoc ones that we've secured. So let's bounce ahead to the practice makes perfect slide, and we'll have and before Dave gets going, we'll go over this and then we'll share out a couple examples of some testimony that people have developed. So, Dave, I'll let you kick this off.
Yeah, here are some helpful tips for presenting verbal testimony. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. The more you practice, the more confident and clear you will be to the committee. Time your testimony. Most hearings allow 2 to 3 minutes, but if the agenda is busy, you may have less time than that to present. Be prepared to adjust your testimony if you are being given less time to present. Identify areas where you could omit a sentence or two and still be impactful.
Great, thank you. Do we have anybody that has something they've jotted down that would like to share? That'd be nice if we had a couple people share a couple examples of what they developed. We have a rush of hands.
Like Maurice.
Maurice?
Yes, I'll do mine. What I've written here is I'm Maurice Garrett. I'm with RPEC. I serve as their statewide vice president. I retired 10 years ago from Cowlitz County 911. I have been retired for 10 years. I'm PERS 2. I do get a 3% rate COLA along with the raising cost of everything. I can barely keep up and I do not get ahead at times. But my friends who are PERS 1 and TERS 1 do not get a recurring COLA. They are losing ground every year. Without a COLA, and it will continue, this will continue for them to lose ground and not gain anything at the rising cost. In PERS 1 and TERS 1 retirees need this recurring COLA to just survive and continue on. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Anybody else want to share an example? Martin?
Sure, I'll go. Good afternoon, Chair, Co-Chair, members of the committee. Sorry, I'm a PERS 2 retiree and a member of RPEC and an officer in Chapter 2, which is Thurston County, where we have over 1,300 members. I retired in 2016 from the Snohomish County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and I'm testifying today in support of Substitute House Bill 1967. I have been blessed to have a 3% COLA since retiring in 2016. I've continued to see rising costs in my own household every year with Medicare premiums, homeowners insurance, car insurance, surgeries, and I am grateful to keep up with most expenses, but it hasn't been perfect. I can't begin to imagine how my PERS 1 brothers and sisters have managed to get by without a COLA, where these folks have continued to lose up to and more than 40% of their purchasing power. These members have devoted their life to public service, and they deserve to receive this COLA as only a humane thing to do. And I'm urging you to pass SHB 1967. Thank you very much.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Martin. David had mentioned that, most hearings allow 2 to 3 minutes, but busier agendas, you may have less than that. I've seen many hearings where you have 1 minute to testify. So as you work this, as you craft this, and we mentioned rehearsing and practicing, find areas that if you need to cut it down, if you come to that hearing and all of a sudden find out you have 1 minute and not 3 minutes, find areas that you can, kind of eliminate or be a little bit more concise and whittle that down a little bit. And this is for verbal presented testimony. Now, written testimony, you don't have to do that, although it is still good to keep it concise and on point, but you have a little bit more freedom to express, maybe your personal story and how this affects you or people that you know. And we'll walk through some different means of testimony and how to submit that here in a little bit. So those were some great examples. Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to add, I did testify before one of the committees about 10 or 15 years ago. I don't remember the subject matter or that. But one thing that happened that kind of caught me off guard was after I finished my testimony, one of the members of the committee asked me a couple of questions. And this was a member that was one of our friends. And afterwards, when I was talking with one of my colleagues there, they referred to it as a softball question. You know, it was not, putting me on the spot. And even at that, I was a little bit flustered. So, I don't remember what the question was. I don't remember my answer. I know I just kind of went with it and answered truthfully, and they were appreciative. And my point in bringing this up is that if you ever do testify, and maybe there is a little extra time, they may ask you a follow-up question, and go with it. It's not usually not meant to embarrass you or catch you. It's not a gotcha. It's an honest, can you elaborate on this or that and help us out and help us understand? And it was a good experience.
Great information. Nick.
One of the things I kind of learned when I interviewed Representative Schmeck several times, and we got into this whole thing about the permanent COLA, he kind of always brings up to me, and obviously I wasn't here in Washington at that, well, I was, but I wasn't involved in the with the state and everything, that people had a choice of whether to take a lump sum or continue the COLA, and whatever choice it was, it actually caused the COLA to disappear because the state was in financial difficulty. So he's always bringing that point up to me about how the COLA disappeared. And I don't know. I mean, I wasn't involved, as I said, with the state at that time. And so I always try to think of, to your point, Jeff, what question may I get thrown at me to see if I am aware of the whole situation when I'm saying for this testimony about PERS 1. And the only reason I knew something about that was because we had discussed it at one of our big meetings that we had for Legislative Week.
Oh,
And
well, that's
that gave me a little bit of
nice.
insight. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far off here. I've watched a ton of testimony in various hearings, and rarely, it does happen, as Jeff pointed out, that they may ask a follow-up question or something like that. But it rarely happens because of the time that they have available. They just kind of want to move through the testimony. So what they do here it does impact them. But I doubt that they would try to challenge you on something unless you were overly aggressive in your nature or your testimony. But again, like I said, I think only a couple times I've seen follow-up questions asked. And we want to keep moving here. So quickly, Warren.
Well, I would recommend what you can do is go to the DRS website, and it does explain the different plans on the COLAs. So I would think you get the information from that site rather than going into it here.
Or refer them to that website.
Department of Retirement Services, yeah.
Yeah, and we have an extensive history built in our system here that we can always present that information down the road too. Martin, did you have a question real quick?
Oh, well, yeah, I was just going to follow up on that part that Nick brought up. I thought that was something where you had to reduce your retirement benefit to buy into that COLA back in PERS 1 if you wanted to get that COLA And, so it was a reduction in your benefit in order to get a COLA.
Right.
But, again, I would say if we don't know the answer to something, like a real gotcha, I'd say, I'd refer you to the director of RPEC with further information on that.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
good point. Yes, we can always, and we can always, help give you talking points or background on whatever issue that we're speaking on. And finally, real quickly, Paulette.
I'll make it real quick. I just have a statement that COLA one was taken away by Christine Gregoire when we had our first RIF back then. See that state employees would they waiver their COLA and that she would put it back in. And when she left office, she never did. So that's how that occurred.
Yes, and the legislature had a big hand in that too, because they were under the gun as far as budget and the current economic situations. So let's move on here. I think Nancy's gonna present something to us here.
Okay. Bev Hermanson, as many of you know, is a longtime RPEC member, a former lobbyist, and current retiree representative on the Select Committee on Pension Policy. She provided a few pearls of wisdom for testifying at committee hearings. And I give you a few minutes to read through that, but I can't help but comment as you do that. But be succinct. That's so important. And number three, I think is interesting. If someone on the committee asks a question, feel free to take as much time as you need. That is a gift. I actually never thought of it that way, and that's interesting. Yeah, okay. And then you can read through, make your point first. She's more being like being concise, which is what I need to be here as well. But I wanted to add one more thing, and that was that I found it helpful to make eye contact with someone on the panel, especially if you knew the bill sponsor or one of your friends, a legislator that's a friend, that I would sort of speak directly to that person and they would be giving me nods along with when I was testifying. I found that very helpful. So just some ideas to keep in mind.
Great, thank you, Nancy. So, okay, so we're going to work on, not work on, we're going to tell you how to go about submitting your testimony or signing up to give verbal testimony. An easy way is to Google committee sign in and just WA and or often if it's a call to action that we've developed, we'll put the link in there for you ahead of time. And then we also have the link provided below if you want to jot that down. And we can always provide this to you down the road in the slide set as well, so you have it. If you want to jump to the next slide. So that Google search will end up this. You may see a couple others, but you want the generic committee sign in here. The one above it is sign in for House committees. And if it's not a House committee you want the one that just says committee sign in. Next slide. That takes you to the legislature committee sign in page. And you'll see that you have an option of House, Senate, joint, or agency. And most of our sign-ins and registering for positions will happen either House, Senate, or joint, depending on the committee. Next slide. So here's an example of using the joint button, and you'll see under committee, and there's a few in that drop down, but for this particular issue, like a Plan 1 COLA, we'd select Committee on Pension Policy. Then you select the meeting date, which is usually the first one on the list. When you pull that down is the approaching meeting. If there's specific items that there is on their agenda already, it'll show the agenda for that committee will show up, and you see Plan 1 COLAs here. This is a few years old, but you see Plan 1 COLAs on the list, and you would check that. So next slide. And once you do that, you get type of testimony. And there's three types. One is to testify remotely, which is by Zoom. Um, I would like my position noted for the legislative record, which is what you saw a lot last session, was us sending out calls to action, just saying, go here to sign in pro for this particular bill that we're supporting. Or you can submit your written testimony. So if you're camera shy and not comfortable with this, you can always write testimony and submit it to on a particular bill or issue and submit it to the committee that is hearing that. So once you select that, you'll get a page here where you need to fill it out. Number one is, what position are you taking on this? Because often, even with remote testimony, they'll try to group people together. So that if they have a few pros and a few cons, they'll try to group them together. When it says testify as a panel, you click no. We often use that if we put together a series of people to testify for RPEC. If we have 3 or 4 people, we'll say a panel, and we can actually fill out all the people's names and emails and everything like that. And then underneath the list, you'll have name, and if we go to the next slide, it'll ask where you are. They want to know what constituency you're from, so your address. If it's something that we've asked for testimony, asked for a position, we do ask that you, under organization, put a retired public employees council in there. Let them know, and it speaks volumes when you go to the sign-in record or the testimony record and see all these people from our organization testifying in support. Your address, your phone, of course, you're not a robot, and then you submit the registration. For remote testimony, once you do that, they will send you an email, usually with a unique link, so you can testify and get into their queue for testimony. And then the final slide in that.
Nancy's got a hand up. Do you want to?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Nancy.
I just wanted to quick remind people to not put you testifying on behalf of RPEC unless you've been asked to. If you're testifying as a private citizen on an issue and it's not something that RPEC has contributed with you on, then please don't say you're testifying on behalf of RPEC. Is that correct, Derek?
Yes. I mean, teaching you this, how to prepare a testimony. You can prepare a testimony on any issue that you wish, anything that you want to address. But we do ask that you only use a retired public employees council as far as organization if it's a call that we've asked people to come forward and state their position or testify in some means. So thank you, Nancy. And then again, once you click submit, this provides like a link to the Zoom meeting. You can copy that, or again, they will send you an email with that link in it, so you have it for later. So, and this one I thought I took out, but if you're doing remote testimony, put your name and the organization in there, just in case your name isn't set up in Zoom the way that you need it to. If you go up to your picture in Zoom, you'll see 3 buttons in the upper right corner when you hover over your picture, and you click on that, you should see an option to rename yourself and put in your name, and then you can put RPEC afterwards. So I appreciate everybody coming here. We will, session starts in a couple months, and we will, of course, be having calls to action coming forward. We are planning most likely a mobilization coming ahead of the November and December SCPP meetings. as they may be looking at an option for an ad hoc COLA for Plan 1 members. Most likely our position will be to sign on in support of that, but we may ask for some testimony for people to come forward. If this is something you're interested in, please send us an email. Let us know. We're trying to put together a list of people that are interested in testifying this next session. So we have a kind of a pool of members to grab from. Let us know, not just the COLA issue, but if you're interested in other things, if you're interested in healthcare or property taxes, whatever, let us know what you're interested in or where you might be most impacted. So we can kind of maybe align you with the right kind of bill to testify on as we move through session. So any questions kind of overall on this today? I think the testimony that a few of you shared was excellent. And we're happy at the council office to help you with any testimony or to fine tune your testimony or give you talking points. Excuse me. If you're planning to testify at all and just want some points to help, craft your message, let us know. We can, provide you little tidbits of information as far as, like say when a COLA was taken away or what years that we had an ad hoc and how much it was. I appreciate everybody joining us today. We will take this recording, we'll clean it up a little bit, and we will get it uploaded to YouTube where we host all our videos and get this posted on the website along with the slideshow so you have the 5 steps and some examples here. Again, I appreciate everybody coming today. Thank you to our presenters, David Koenig and Nancy Healy, for their work on this. And we'll look forward to maybe a successful legislative session. So it'll be a short one. It's a 60-day session this year. So
Don't
Thanks,
forget
Derek.
to sign up for legislative week.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Very good job, Derek. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.